with me today, and we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about her phase 2 journey with hCG. She's actually had her very first round, and then we're also going to talk about her experience with the P3tolife program. So if you don't know what that is already, I'm shouting it from the rooftops now because it's new as of March 2017. You can find it at P3tolife.com, and it's a whole structured phase 3 program that I worked very hard developing, and that a lot of women are stabilizing well on. So you can kind of hear her feedback on that as well, because the proof is in the pudding, right? So we need to hear how it actually works for people. So thank you for being with me today, Natalie.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
So let's just jump right into it. Give us a little bit of background on yourself, like your age and height, and just what's been your weight change, maybe just from this recent round, and then maybe we can talk about your history in a little bit.
I'm a 42-year-old single mother of three, and I also have a very sedentary job. But my recent history was that I started college back at 40, and sitting at home doing schoolwork, sitting at work doing work, and just slowly over the past 2 years, a good 20 pounds creeped up on me, and I didn't even really notice it until my pants were too tight and I just refused to go up a size. So I saw a friend on Facebook post their secret on how they dropped weight, and I've known her for about 6 years, and her and I have always been a little on the heavier side. So I called her up and was like, what is this? Do you trust it? And, she's like, fully trust hCG Chica, everything she's about, and she's learned about it, and she's had success on it too. And I said, well, I'm going to give it a try. And here I am.
Awesome.
I did it first round and dropped 18 pounds, and I'm just so thrilled, and it happened so quickly.
That's great. Now, did you do a short round or a longer round?
I did the 21 day, but actually the hormone lasted me 26 days, and by that last week I was kind of old hat with it, so it was easier, and I just kept going until I ran out.
Gotcha. So you did about 26 days or so, and you lost 18 pounds. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what did you do? What type of hCG did you do? What dosage, things like that?
I got mine from the US hCG shots that seemed to be the least expensive, and for me that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I did the injections. I did the prescription the doctor had on there was 175. I did 170, not that I think that much makes a difference, but I kind of in my mind to hopefully stretch it out a little longer.
Yeah. And you felt pretty good on that? Like, how was your hunger?
I did. I actually also did on my very first round the lipo shots. So, yeah, and with the B12.
Gotcha.
And
I forgot. Are those a separate shot?
It's a separate shot.
Is it an intramuscular one?
It is.
Oh my gosh, you did it. I'm scared. Okay, you guys, I'm so embarrassed because I'm not scared of the hCG shot, the injections, because they're so small, right? The needles.
Yeah.
So, and I tell people all the time, it's not scary, you guys. Here's how you do it. So, in my fridge right now, I have this bottle of glutathione I wanted to try, but it's an IM shot, and I've never actually done one. And I feel like I just feel like I should know by now. Like, and the needles, I am too scared still. I'm like trying to work up the courage.
I had a best friend come over to try to give me my first one, and she said, "There's something in me that says I can't hurt my friends." I'm like, there's something in you that would want to help your friend. You've got to do this.
How does it feel? Can you, does it hurt or?
I had several different people give it to me before I built up the courage to do myself.
Okay.
So, and I tried various ways. I told some people just get it in. Some other people I didn't tell them, and they did it slow. And I was like, you're done? And so, yeah, I didn't even feel it. And so.
Which way, slow or fast? Or are they both?
Slow.
So slow was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I ended up doing it myself, I literally sat on the toilet, no bottoms, just so I could have access to my thigh. And I just kind of extended my leg to find the muscle closest to the surface.
Okay.
So it's a little kind of quad-ish, but a little towards the outside,
Gotcha.
And then I grabbed a portion and I kind of pricked until I found a spot that I didn't feel the needle prick, because there are
more sensitive
spots.
areas. Okay.
Yes. that were not as sensitive.
Okay.
And I just slowly, there was a tiny pinch breaking the surface, but then other than that, it just glided right in. And I was like,
Really? See, I'm so glad I talked to you today because, like, I don't want that bottle to expire, and I've been wanting to try this for my health
uh,
condition. It's supposed to be good for your mitochondria and stuff, and I'm like, oh, those needles look so scary though.
yeah,
Cool. Okay,
it's
those are
really not
good
bad at all.
tips. For yeah,
Yeah.
because for some of you guys that want to do those lipo shots, they do like depending on what company you go with, some of them do send them with just the shorter subcutaneous. And like I've been having trouble finding information in like the scientific literature about like if it's just as good or if it's still okay. And I'm sure you do absorb some, but it is pretty much understood that the IM is definitely the best way for those types of
Yeah.
shots. With HCG, it's like the same either way, so we do the subcutaneous. But yeah, for the IM, for the lipo's ideal, it's just a lot of us are like, ah. So how often did you do the lipo shots?
I tried to do it every 2 to 3 days because it says you can do 2 to 3 a week.
Okay.
Sometimes it was more longer on the 3 day and
Yeah.
then into the third night before I could find someone to do it those first couple of weeks.
Gotcha.
But they send you exactly the right amount of syringes for the amount of medicine that came.
Gotcha.
And I found that when I had others do it, my left shoulder was less painful when they squeezed it, and
Oh.
right in the meat of that shoulder
It's like,
didn't feel it at all.
and you just went in like sideways like that?
It has to be like straight into the
Straight,
muscle,
right? Yeah,
no
not at an
angle
angle.
or whatever.
Right.
And there is one portion that they tell you once you're in all the way up to the end of the needle, that needle is all the way in,
Yeah.
you're supposed to pull the plunger back a little to see
Okay.
if you're in a vein.
Oh, okay.
I never was in a vein,
Cool.
so I don't see really the
Gotcha.
point of doing that and putting yourself through a little more
Yeah.
the needle's still in me kind of feeling, but
So you probably don't know since this was your first round, like if you feel like it made a difference doing the lipo shots versus not. And like we're
right.
going to talk about, you have a pretty crazy schedule, so you're probably not going to feel super energetic on HCG because you have such a
Well, the interesting thing is we had just gotten a puppy. I don't know why I threw that into my mix, but I did. So, and I kind of prayed about it. I'm like, Lord, please give me the positive in this
yeah.
because I'm already so busy. But she's pretty energetic and needed longer walks than just around the block.
I
So,
see.
at 3.5 months, 4 months, she was up to 4 miles.
Wow.
And I was having the energy to walk her that far,
Cool.
especially on my off days. And so, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a blessing that I actually had the energy to do that
Yeah.
on HCG and the
Right.
lipo. And I didn't have that energy when I was on a normal diet and
Ah.
off of HCG before I started. So, I don't know, chalk it up to the B12 and lipo or chalk it up to the better food intake.
Yeah.
Sure, but I think the combination was pretty
Gotcha.
amazing. Yeah.
So for like your next round, you're gonna do. Will you do the lipo shots again? You think, or yeah? So
So
you felt like
I,
it was worth it.
I felt like I wanted to do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Bottom line, no cheat, do the right combination of everything, and I wanted to do one and done. But now that I see how amazing and effective it is, we're gonna start another round here in a couple weeks.
Yep, I know. It's totally what happens. I did the same thing because I was a 16, 18, and by that point I was just like, you know what? I don't need to be like how thin I was in high school anymore. I just need to feel a little smaller. And I was like, I'll be happy at 12 but then yeah, when you see how well HCG works, then you're like, you reassess your goals and you're like, I think I actually could possibly get back to my old body. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My whole life has been a yo-yo. High school, I was like a 12, 175-ish. Comfortable, but I was athletic. I was in a lot of sports, and then college, I really blew up to like a size 20, and
And
then
how tall are you, by the way? I forgot to ask.
I'm 5'7".
Okay, 5'7", gotcha.
Yeah,
Just for
5'7".
reference.
And
Yeah.
then early 20s, I got into Taibo really big and dropped a ton of weight and was super healthy and fit. And then early 30s, I landed my current job as a police dispatcher, and we sit for hours on end because we're tethered to this radio. And
Yeah.
I slowly started creeping up, and then I had children. and went through a divorce and a traumatic birth with my twins, and just so much
Oh,
happened, and I blew back up. I was back up to a 16, and that was starting to get uncomfortable, and I was up to 240 pounds,
gotcha.
and that was terrifying. So at that point, I kind of was um, feeling like emergency status, like
Yeah.
something to be done quick. And I resorted to a gastric surgery, but it was the sleeve. So there's nothing foreign in my body, and I didn't go so extensive as to do the whole bypass.
Okay.
But what I did learn is that no matter what size my stomach is, still having the proper food choices is imperative, because
Right.
they post surgery was all about liquids and purees and then soft foods, and a lot of that is cheeses and
Oh,
like all
right.
kinds. I don't know. It didn't. I don't feel that it prepared me for long-term success.
I see.
Sure, I have a smaller stomach, but now I can still eat normal portions. That was temporary
Oh.
and
What
fairly
do you
normal.
mean? Like because I don't actually know a whole lot about this. The smaller stomach was temporary, or what do you mean?
It
Like volume
the
wise?
the food intake, the smaller food intake is temporary until you recover from the surgery.
Okay.
And then, I mean, your portion sizes still aren't completely huge. Like, I couldn't eat a whole pizza in one sitting,
Right.
but I can still eat three pieces, and that can be damaging
So you
if
can
you're,
still overeat and gain weight, is
yeah,
what
you
you're
can
saying.
still overeat,
Gotcha.
and eating the wrong foods when you're eating,
Right.
more than what you should is still
Right.
wrong, and so
Right.
I started at 40, I started college again. And um, during that time, I'm already sitting at work. So now I'm sitting at home in my off time doing my schoolwork. And within the 2 years, 20 pounds crept back up. And
Gotcha.
so I'm starting to panic again. And all this hard work I just went through 2 years before with the surgery is like out the window. And I'm terrified that I'm going to be 240 again. And
Okay.
I I saw my friend on Facebook post her secret, that how she lost weight, and I've known her for 6 years, and we've always been a little on the heavier side. And um, so I called her up, and was like, "What did you do? What is this?" And she's like, "Do your research, but you need to follow this hCG Chica. She's amazing. She's done it and failed. She's done it and succeeded, and she's done it and tested it, and she knows what she's doing now." And she's like, "I fully trust everything that she's talking about." And so I did my research, followed every single little blog and video on your thing,
Oh
and
my goodness.
um,
That could take years.
well,
And
I
I
was
run
so,
on. We all know I run on. So,
and I was apprehensive because I've always needed help. Like, I always had to really dive in fully into what I was doing, even in Taibo. Like, I was excessive with it, and then
yeah,
surgery. I mean, that's extreme,
yeah.
and I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot, and I did. And even through the phase two, that first week was so hard,
Really.
so hard, and I really had to focus on why I was doing this, and I turned to the Lord a lot. I even wrote those scriptures and prayers in my notebook, and
Yeah.
anything that I could think of that would help me through. I have serious sugar cravings too, so
I was actually going to ask you because I before we started, but I forgot. Were you the one that was saying that you still struggle with the craving thing?
still, yes,
Gotcha.
it's
Yeah, because we
so
were gonna
hard.
maybe talk about that too. Yeah. So what? So in the first week, what was it? Was that what was hard? With that you were having cravings and you wanted to eat more than you could? Is that what it was, or?
Um, what was hard is that I found myself really wanting sugar. I found myself
Yeah.
really wanting my wind down time. My
Mm,
peace and satisfaction time was usually after work. I get home at like 1 in the morning, and I
gotcha.
snack and I watch a show and I wind down, and
Yeah.
then I go to bed. And it's like I didn't know what to do with myself when I did that.
Yeah.
So um, I kind of just came home and uh, drank a huge glass of water and went to bed. Like, I forced
Oh,
myself just to go straight to bed, lights
gotcha.
out. And I found that it was helpful because I needed that extra sleep anyway.
Right.
Um, So, but yeah, I still struggle now. I'll have moments of weakness um, but I kind of give myself permission a little bit
Yeah.
to have something and then jump back in,
Yeah.
and
That's good.
surprisingly though, I found that the sugar isn't affecting me as much as bread and cheese.
Interesting. That's good to know.
I was like, I ate 3 Reese eggs at Easter and I didn't gain a pound, but then I
Yeah.
had a slice of cheese and a roll and I gained 3 pounds the next day. I'm like, whoa,
Whoa.
or something. So,
Yeah. Well, that's just a testament to the fact that it really does pay to try things out with your body and like see how it responds, and that not everything is going to be a no across the board or a yes across the board. Just because it's, has carbs, or because it's, low carb, doesn't make
yeah,
it. Yeah, interesting. Huh.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. You know what I was thinking when you were talking about how you still struggle with the sugar craving thing, even now, I don't think everyone's heard exactly how busy your schedule is yet.
Mm,
But you suffer from a lack of sleep, and it's not something that you can change right now,
right.
right? And I was noticing myself anyway. You can talk about it in a sec if you want, but I do usually get enough sleep, but then there's times where I'm working a lot, usually hCG
Mm,
stuff, and I'll be up really late and I'll get really tired. And I totally notice that that's when like my guard goes down and I do kind of want to eat a lot more. And I will, and then I'll be like, man, like how did I lose my self-control there? You know?
yeah.
Anyway.
That's what it feels like. You lose self-control at some moments, but
Hmm.
yeah, my schedule is very crazy. As a single mom, 3 kids, they um, obviously are in school. My girls are in kindergarten. They're twins, and my son is second grade. Um, I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesdays from 2 in the afternoon or 2:30 until 12:30 at night. And I have an hour drive. So by the time I get home and wind down, I maybe get 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, 6 if I'm lucky,
Wow.
on my work week. And then on my weekends, I can tuck her out earlier and get more sleep and get more physical activity as well, because those mornings of getting the kids off to school and I come home and then I've got my meal prep or taking care of the multitude of critters around here that I have, or doing dishes or anything else, even laundry, some of those daunting tasks that pile up on us.
Right.
Um, I don't have a lot of time and I'm constantly operating in a mode of sleep deprivation. So I was excessive intake of coffee with prior to hCG, excessive amounts of, because I liked a little coffee with my creamer, of the Cold Stone International Delight Creamer. I mean, that's
Ooh,
amazing,
that sounds
right?
good.
So, yeah, and I was so just drained.
Yeah.
And when I started P2, I'm very excited but apprehensive at the same time. And I literally made myself a little book of my own outside of yours that was kind of discreet that I could take with me.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what I'm doing. It's just a
Yes.
folder. And
Oh,
I just put a little
nice.
note, my
Yes.
HCG journey.
Cool.
um, and even kind of a recovery thing for an addict for sugar, one day at a time.
Oh, good.
But anyway, I took out the pages that I felt that I would use and just kept it with me and constantly referred to that. Um, and I noticed on my work days how much sleep I got, how much weight I did or didn't lose compared to my weekend.
Yeah.
And the very first week I noticed it. You have your load days, and then the first couple days it was major drop. I dropped all the load weight overnight. I dropped another 2 pounds the next day, and then one something, and then I went into my work week and I lost point 0.2, point 0.2, point 0.2.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't gonna add up, right? Like, I was kind of calculating like other people's success of about half a pound to
Right.
0.8 a
Yeah.
day, yeah, and I'm like, at this rate, I'm only going to lose 10 pounds in this time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, is this worth it? I'm
Yeah.
stabbing myself every day, is this worth it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then on my weekend, I would drop 1.5 pounds, and then a pound, and then 0.8, and I'm like, oh. So that second week of my work week, I really just um, let my sitter know that what I was doing and asked her if she could help me fold laundry, help me do dishes with some of the other stuff. And
Good.
I came home after I took the kids to school and I slept.
Good. You caught on to that.
Well, and this is the funny thing. So there was a day that I gained zero point 0.4 when I woke up, and I had 4 hours of sleep. It was terrible. I had to stay late. So I come back from taking the kids to school, and I'm mentally beat. I'm, kind of a little bit emotionally taking a hit on that because it was a gain.
Okay.
And I went back to sleep, and then I woke up 3 hours later, used the bathroom, got back on the scale, stripped down, got back on the scale, and I lost a pound.
Cool.
I'm like, 3 hours of sleep is all I needed, a little bit more. My body wasn't quite done. And the water intake was huge too. On days that I noticed that I didn't get enough water or I could have drank more water for whatever reason, that made a difference too. So on the days that usually my weekend when I had sufficient water intake and sufficient sleep, I had big losses. And so for me, on my next round, I will definitely be focusing on the sleep and the water,
Cool.
even on my work days. And if that means limiting overtime, if possible, because sometimes I can't,
Right.
then I'll do it because it's more important for a better outcome.
Especially when you know it's for that finite time, so you're just like, for this purpose while I'm doing this. I'm glad you talked about that. So you guys, you heard it from Natalie, you heard it from me. Sleep and water intake. 2 factors are so important, okay? Because I do get a lot of emails and there can be other hormonal issues too. If you're really stressed, you won't lose weight, too, which a lack of sleep will cause cortisol levels to go up. But sometimes it's like, man, I'm not losing any weight. Or I was stalling for 10 days or whatnot. And those are 2 big factors that I think, I do it too. I tend to water. I should, but it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. Like it does, and the sleep is a big thing. I can even say in regular life, I use, intermittent fasting on occasion to keep my weight in check because I overdo it some days too. And I have noticed also that if I do a fast day, but then I go to bed really late, which happened last night. Just being on it, I was editing P3tolife interviews, and my son was at Grammys. Okay, sorry, I don't want to make this about me, but just to share that this is true. So I didn't see my son for a week because he was with the grandparents. He was coming home late last night with my husband, and I was like, oh, I want to make sure I'm done with all of my work stuff so that when I see him in the morning, I can, spend time with him and not be thinking about work stuff that I might forget. So I stayed up till 2 in the morning. I had fasted the whole day. And then I always know, isn't that terrible? Yeah. So, and then this morning,
if I'm fasting, I have to go to sleep early. So
I know, and that's what you should do. And when I do that, I get great results from my fast day because that's when your body is processing stuff. But on occasion, I let other things get the better of me. So I stayed up till 2 in the morning. I got up at 7:30. And and I can tell, I did lose a little bit, but it's just water probably. And so I feel like I wasted the fast day. And so it's true that sleep, it makes such a difference. So you have to prioritize it, which is hard. I hate going to bed, honestly. I put it off. So
need to recharge.
yeah, no, but it really does feel better. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. So so it sounds like you had a good P2 though, overall.
Yes,
Despite that.
I started at, let me look at my little handy dandy. This is my sub hCG Chica workbook.
Okay, can you show us in the video? So this is the hCG workbook, the digital version that you guys can buy at hcgchica.com/workbook. And she has it all printed out with her notes. I love seeing all that. So fun.
Yeah, I made all my little tabs, and I've got I've got my previous inch loss results sheet with the first round still in here.
Awesome.
And all my tracking days are blank now, ready for round 2.
For next round. Awesome.
I keep the food tracker in there so it's easy to reference.
Cool. Yeah, tabs. You gotta have tabs.
Yeah, and there's all my little words of inspiration and
Lovely. Awesome.
And I'll share this. This is my favorite thing that I have to read almost daily,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
please.
just this little saying with a butterfly because they transform, right?
Yep.
But it says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I really had to focus on that a lot because this is, of all that I've went through and all the yo-yos, like this is the one that I've learned the most. And this is the one that I had some of the biggest lessons on as far as what my body can tolerate and what it needs.
Yeah.
And so, and then getting into your P3, which we'll probably get to soon, was that was a challenge for me to try these new ingredients that I was like, oh, I don't know if I like coconut, you know, it has a lot of coconut, you know, and I found I loved it, and I found that I didn't have one steak day.
No correction days?
None.
Cool.
I only had a steak day last week when I went on a 2-day camping trip with my son, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and it was a Cub Scout provided meals, and I had to do my best.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was like, today will be a steak day.
Today I'm gonna fix it. Aw, good.
But that's after a month, an entire month on P3.
Wow.
So I'm just, yeah, you've done it up right.
Thank you. I'm so excited to hear you guys say that. I pretty much almost every interview I've done now, they've said that they did not have to do a correction day at all. Like, what? This is awesome.
You're on to something.
I'm so glad. That's so cool.
That's amazing. But I started at 197. Oh, wait. Daily weight. All right, I lied. I put it up.
No problem. I'm going to take a sip of my tea.
197.6 was my very starting weight, which was creeping towards 2, and I was freaking out because
no, not again.
Comfortable at 174-ish, size 12 was good.
Right.
After my 2 load days, I was 199.6. So I did not see 2, which was good for my mental state.
Right. Our brains are so funny, huh?
Yes. But then my first VLCD day, I was down 3. So
you actually lost, how much did you say you gained loading? You lost all your load weight in one day, is that right?
Yeah.
And more, basically. Or awesome.
Yeah.
And that's usually how it is. When you loaded, I'm just curious, did you load just like with whatever, or did you load clean, or?
I would say medium. I didn't load with a ton of sugar.
Okay.
But or refined sugar, but I did have carbs in there.
Yeah.
Because my favorite giant sushi dish, which is fried and rice and loaded with raw fish and sauces and everything. So I had that, and I had anything fried and meaty, you know, fatty avocados and nuts and cheeses and stuff like that. So I tried not to overdo it on the sugar because I was trying to follow a little bit more. Because I really kind of resonated with you even using the word addict as far as sugar goes. Like it's really a serious thing.
It is. No, it is.
Has physiological consequences in our brains and in the way we act after. So that was huge. So that's why I really tried not to load too sugary.
Smart.
Yeah. So we'll see on the next go round.
Gotcha. So you started around 197, and then where did you end up?
178.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the sugar thing. I mean, I think when I can't even remember the first video I made about it, but I think I felt a little bit silly, just a little. Like, oh, I wonder if this is silly. But then other people were like, no, I feel the same way you feel. Because I'm like, I mean, because the thing is, you have to eat, and sugar's not illegal, or it's not like, you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, to this
in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's stuff I cannot have to this day, or it just awakens that sugar monster immediately.
What are
Yeah.
some of your things that you can't have?
I can't have pretty much any baked good at all. It doesn't
Mm.
matter if it's like sugar free and gluten free. And I can have carbs. So like I have, for instance, every day actually I have a gluten free sandwich. So I eat gluten free bread. That's like simple carbs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
made from white rice. No cravings. I eat my sandwich. I'm finished. I don't need to eat again for several hours. I feel fine. I have that every day. I eat French fries. I feel fine. I eat my French fries. I don't feel like, oh, I wish I could have 4 more plates of French fries, you know? So, but I'm telling you, any type of cookie or baked good and ice cream, because ice cream used to be a treat that I used to binge on ice cream. Like I've
Me
had
too.
really, yeah, no, literally I've had a half gallon, I've had half gallons, like full half gallons.
Yes.
I started out small and then it just got bigger because you know what? It's the dopamine. If you guys have read about like addiction and stuff, your dopamine receptors, they get dull. So it's like at first 2 cups of ice cream is enough, then it starts not being enough, and so then you eat a whole pint and then you finish that and you feel like, oh, I still want more, because you're not getting the same happiness high that you were with the
Yeah.
dopamine. I totally see it. So eventually I worked up to a whole half gallon.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, I mean, I had a video once and I lost it. I had it on YouTube. I didn't ever actually upload it to YouTube. This was before my website, but I had binged on that, and I made a video, and I don't know if I'm gonna upload it, but I lost it on a hard drive. But I was
Oh,
on the video talking, and I was like, I just binged on a whole half gallon of ice cream, and this is how I feel, and it just so out of control. And I wish I had it now so that I could show it, you know, because I have not binged in 5 years, almost 5 years probably.
hmm.
4.5 years, 5 years, yeah. So but yeah, so anyway, the ice cream and the baked goods, I can't
Yeah.
do.
Reese's peanut butter eggs at Easter.
Really?
No for me.
No go. Like
I
totally.
mean, they're a real go. Like, I will
Yeah,
eat them.
yeah.
But
They're
once
too
I
much of a
started, I
go.
can't stop. It was terrible. Easter
Yeah.
was really
It's
hard.
helpful to find those triggers. Now, you said you're still kind of finding your balance with it, or like how to get rid of the cravings. Want
Um,
to speak to that?
you know, I think this is the interesting part. So, I binged on Reese's Easter eggs, and uh, I don't know if it would have been more of a consequence if I had actually shown a change on the scale when I did
Mm,
it.
yeah.
And I didn't, but it was how I felt
Yeah.
that was awful.
Right.
But it didn't affect the scale as much.
Yeah.
So it's not very helpful, because then I know I've got
This is
some
okay.
leeway to actually have some of my favorite candies once in a while
Yeah.
and not suffer.
Right.
But then that leads to wanting chips and dip, and that leads to
Yeah.
wanting something else, and chips and dip does have an effect on me. So,
Thank you.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's things that it was a gateway.
Right.
Yeah, some of
Yeah, I
that.
think I think it is definitely like figuring out what you can mentally control. Because, like you said, I think it's that for me anyway, the feeling of feeling out of control. Like I can't
Yes.
decide what I will or will not eat because my body's telling me to eat sugar and to overconsume it, because it will catch up, right? It's like even if you can have a little bit without gaining,
Yeah.
others, it's, you know, it only lasts so long. And for me, I think like, I think the farther away you get from the road you were on, the more the easier it is to make the right choice, is I think what I found for myself, because it's just so drastically different that I'm
Mhm.
like, I just never want to be in that place again, you know, because it was so hard to come out of that hole,
It is.
you
It
know.
really.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't want to deal with that again. You know.
Yeah. I'm glad though that I'm doing this, and I'm going to do it again, because I think I'm going to learn just that much more the second
Yeah.
time around.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I was going to go with that thought.
Yeah, well, no, that's true. It's such a learning process. Well, like I mean, with each round I did too, same thing. I learned a lot, and that's like my second round. I got cocky, and I was like, I don't, and I was tired and felt horrible, and I was like, I don't think I really care about weight loss in my body that much after all, and like so I was cheating, and and then after I saw the consequences of that, I was like, actually, oh yeah, no, I do care. Okay, okay, hold on, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking, and that actually did. I mean, I had to learn things the hard way. Yeah, but that did help me. So, and then after that, I'm like, okay, get my butt back in gear. Round 3 went great, and things went good
Yeah.
from there. But hopefully, you can skip that whole, round 2 mess up thing.
I was very hard-headed in my teens and 20s. So now that I'm 40 and a little wiser,
Yeah.
like I don't want to make those mistakes again. Life is short and I don't have a lot of time left to keep,
Yeah,
backtracking and backpedaling.
exactly. Yeah,
So I'm going to do this right going forward.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is a good segue to get into talking about your experience with the P3 to Life program.
Yes.
How did you end up deciding to try it out?
I was in panic mode because I was starting to look at preparations for P3 while I was still in P2. Um, Partly because I wanted to see, what I need to prepare my kitchen for, um, things that I could look forward to trying because
Yeah.
I'd been on such a restricted diet for a while. And so I was lost. I didn't know. And I was also terrified that I'm going to put one thing in my body and it's going to blow everything out of the water. And because I didn't know what hCG was going to do to me and how stable my body would be after, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Looking back now, I think I was a little over anxious about
Right.
it because
Yeah.
really doing the hCG just brought my body back down. And now that I'm eating more P3 lifestyle, I feel like I have to worry each day. And I jump on the scale. I was like, oh wow, that was a big serving, and that was really good. And then I had a smoothie, and then the scale didn't move. And I was like, is this for real?
This doesn't
Okay,
make
let's try
sense.
tomorrow. And then tomorrow I do it again, and same thing. And it was so my ending weight on my last shot day, and I actually went on vacation during my transition. And
Wow.
so that was a good actually it was fun because I got to eat out, but I got to ask for my own stuff. Like I wanted a grilled chicken breast with a double side of veggies, and
Yeah.
I didn't eat the carrots or the yellow squash. I only ate the green stuff and kind of, but it tasted so good. I just tell you
Yeah, when you
how
come on
good
P2, like everything tastes
someone
good.
else's, yeah, someone else's food cooked for me tasted really good. Um, I was gonna go to okay, so my transition day, I forgot to weigh myself on my very last day because I was packing up and getting the kids out the door for our road trip. But I weighed 180 on very low calorie day 25.
Yeah.
Forgot to weigh on 26. Did my transition day. So day 27, I was down a little bit more to 179. And then it continued to drop to 176. And that was during the transition
Okay.
phase, so I was still eating the same. And like your recommendation, if I felt a little hungry, I just ate more protein or more veggie
Cool.
to fill that void. And I still went all the way down to 176, but I tried to remember that during the P3, that my actual last very low calorie shot day, I was at 180.
Yeah.
So,
So you gave yourself that fudge room.
yeah, and I didn't get too hard on myself when 178 became 179 and I didn't
Gotcha.
get too excited when it went down to 177 because I know I still need
Right.
to be within 2 pounds of 180,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I balanced out. I stayed between 177 and 179 the whole P3. And
Really?
yeah, and then my camping weekend, I came home, I was 181. I
You're
was
like,
like,
whoops.
oh.
That's not bad though. And you were
But
able
it's
to fix
still
it
within
pretty
two
quickly, right?
pounds. Huh? Yeah, that was just last weekend.
Yeah.
So I get back home and I get back on like I did. It was a partial steak day. I just kind of, and that's something I wanted to ask you because it said steak and it said apples, and I get confused over what day is what. But
Yeah.
um, I I want to say like I had a protein shake in the morning, but then I kind of just had tea or coffee and water most of the day. And I used an apple to snack on. I ate half an apple and then until I felt okay. And then I waited and had the other half of the apple later. And then,
Yeah.
steak for dinner. And then I tried half an apple again later. Like just something to keep me filled. Like I didn't completely fast.
Yeah.
Um, and
But
then
you
the
just ate
next
really clean, it sounds like that day.
Yeah, and then the day after that, I was back on some P3 recipes, some of my favorites, and the bacony egg cups or the cottage cheese strawberry cheesecake smoothie. I started that in P2 because that was just with the one fruit and one protein, and it
Yeah.
was easy and
Yeah.
added a little something.
Cool.
And so I still do that one from time to time. But yeah, and then I'm still, I was at 179 after 2 days. So, I mean, it took a little bit to drop back down, but I'm okay with it because I'm
Yeah.
still.
That's good. So
So,
so it sounds like you were actually pretty stable then for your whole P3 within a couple pounds. Then
yeah,
no steak days.
P3, my P3 was,
That's
and my
awesome.
sheet, if it's in here or not. We'll see. I thought it was handy, but maybe I had it. Oh, no, I did have it in my folder.
Yeah, no
I
worries.
took it out and then put it in the back so I could still keep it with me. So P3 was, and I will show you my proof. So
Ooh.
176 there on that day 3
Yeah.
transition day, and then the whole time 178, 177,
Wow, yeah, look at that.
179.
So see, you guys can see that it's normal to fluctuate a little, and I'm glad that you stuck with like your true LAW as your reference point,
Mm-hmm.
because I think a lot of us tend to do that where, like you said, usually you do lose more during the transition, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very often hard to keep
Keep
that.
that.
It
Yeah.
is. It's just, but we tend to, because we've seen it now, we're like, but I've seen it. Saw it on the scale, so I want it. I want that. But it's
Yeah.
just not realistic always. So it's good that you kept it as your reference point. It's like, hey, if it goes down, cool, but have the reference point so that you're not, because otherwise people end up starting to do a lot of correction days trying to get the
Don't,
non-LAW number, and
you
then you're
don't need.
miserable.
Don't
So,
struggle. Don't struggle. Give yourself grace and just keep following it, and
yeah.
it stays balanced. And I made notes on almost every single day on what I tried and what, because I was on
Cool.
vacation, and
Yeah.
then my first transition day, I added back my vitamins and stuff that
Yeah.
I had taken out. Like I completely stripped everything for the P2. Um,
Gotcha.
and then my first P3 day, since I was on vacation, so I couldn't start your menu yet.
Yeah.
But I had it with me so I could see some of the foods that like my half piece of bacon. I ate that half piece of bacon, darn you.
You're like, it may not be in the bacon egg cup, but I'm gonna eat it.
I ate that half piece of bacon because I was allowed
Yeah.
to.
That's smart.
And I had eggs, like a
Nice.
scrambled egg, and but I just noted
Good.
what I did each day and whether or not I had enough water. Um, my One of my transition days that I jumped from that 176 to 178,
Yeah.
I prematurely had some cheese and nuts, and I put a big frown face because I was like, did I just sabotage that, or was that still okay?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I still stayed at 178, so I
Right.
I don't want to question
Right.
whether that nuts and cheese added those 2 pounds, and that's why I stayed there.
Yeah.
But hearing you say that that's common to
It is.
not keep that bottom as the lowest number,
It is
um,
common. Yeah. Yeah.
it's good to know. But then
Interesting.
after 12 days of staying at 178, and then I jumped to 179 for 2 days, I ate bread, had little sleep, not enough water, and I had a couple pieces of candy.
Oh, that's interesting that you say you tracked that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So then the next day, I still had a little sleep and not enough water. I must have, you know,
That's hard.
and finally, when I got enough sleep and enough water, I dropped back down to 178. So
Gotcha.
yeah, and I still got my walks in and my hikes and stuff like that. I mean, I still had the energy for that,
Cool.
but I didn't make it so adamant, you know.
Yeah.
I give myself a lot of grace because in the past I haven't, and I had to be super strict and I had to be hardcore. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm older and I
Yeah.
can't possibly keep up that fantasy
Right.
that I can still work out an hour in the morning, ride my bike to work, come home, run 7 miles, and
Right.
no.
Was life's so different when you're a teenager and have no responsibilities? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you work full. Okay, do we talk about your life? Like
Yeah,
you
full
work
time, full
full
time
time,
plus, like sometimes 50
multiple
hours,
children,
through 3 kids in school,
single mom,
single mom, and I go to college 3/4 time,
and you have your kids full time.
full
They're all
time.
yours.
Oh man.
Yeah, so how did you, I'm curious, since we know that you're so busy, how did you make, because there's cooking involved with the P3 to Life
Yes.
program. So we're not eating bars, you guys. We're eating real food. And that's I think honestly why it works.
Yeah.
So how did you make the cooking aspect work with such a busy schedule?
I would take one of my off days, and for shopping, a lot of it I've done online. I do a lot of Amazon Prime, Amazon Fresh,
Yeah,
save my time in the store because then I get lost trying to find this specialty item that I
I
don't know what it
know.
is. I don't know where to find
And then
it.
you're too tired to actually cook the meal when you get home.
Yeah. And so I do a lot of online preparation that way. And for my meals, I'll take a day, I'll pick a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, sometimes two of each, and I just spend my day cooking.
Gotcha.
I prep them all up. They're all ready to grab and go. And, you know, or sometimes I have to do maybe 2 meals one morning before work, or, you know, as long as I have something prepared for at least 2 days, I'm good.
Gotcha.
So I do some mass cooking.
Gotcha. So you kind of have like one big cooking day a week, it sounds like,
Yeah,
and or you
do.
just try to always cook at least two recipes together,
Yes, and
sounds like.
I'll make them big enough for my kids because
Good.
I've always raised my children to try something new. So anytime, and I very rarely make the same thing twice. So this is good for me to have this to
Oh,
look at and find favorites and reintroduce, keep them in the menu plan. Um, and so the kids have always learned to try something new because I'm never really consistent.
yeah.
And they're
You're
like,
like
"What's mom?
consistent with inconsistent.
I'm like, I don't know what that is. Can you taste it and tell me what you think?
Yeah.
I want to cook, right? Yeah, mom, your food tastes good. Okay, well, let me know if that's something I should keep on the menu or not. And they've
Yeah.
always tried it. So
Good.
when I put this new food on their plate, they're like, Mom, what is this? I'm like, that's coconut mushroom chicken. Oh, okay. So try it. Tell me what you think. And they loved it. So
Good.
yeah. So
That's
they're eating
awesome.
the same things that I'm eating now.
That's
And
great.
yeah. So
I
I
need my
just
son to take lessons from your kids. He's actually a little picky. I'm like, I kind of just, I'm like, you have to eat a little bit of this and this, you know? But it's like, man, you almost don't like anything.
Well, and I found it hard because then I'm cooking for myself and then I'm making something for them, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
stop all this madness
No,
because
you
I
can't.
can't do that. I can't.
No. Yeah.
Like, this is what's for dinner. If you don't like
Right.
the mushrooms, eat the chicken and broccoli,
Right.
and mommy will have your mushrooms.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah,
But I can
totally.
still pick off the kid's plate that way and not feel guilty.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, what were some of your favorite P3 recipes on the plan?
So the ones that I have repeated, because like I said, I don't repeat a lot of things.
Yeah.
Chia chocolate pudding. And I'll tell you, I was terrified because I had a girlfriend once that would put chia seeds in her water. She's like, just try it. It's good for you. And I'm
Yeah.
like I can't choke it down.
Yeah. So you really
Chia in
already
my pudding? No. I'm like, this is not possible. But I said, something just said, try it. Just do it.
Yeah.
It's chocolate, okay? It's
Yeah.
chocolate. And like, I'm going to need some chocolate in this. So yeah, I tried it and I played with it. So I put a little more chia in mine than
Yeah.
what your recipe calls for.
Yeah.
And it just really thickens it up. And I love tapioca, so
Yeah,
I
similar.
like that texture.
Nice.
Yeah, and texture is a big thing for me too.
Yeah, me too.
So that one was a repeat, and the bacon and egg cups are repeats. And I've kind of fudged one of the morning muffin breads or muffin mugs
Yeah.
do the blackberry one. I just did blueberry instead.
I actually just suggested that to a gal the other day because she's like, I'm having trouble finding organic blackberries. I'm like, you could probably try blueberries. She's like, oh, I'm gonna do that. So it was good, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I did
Awesome.
do blueberry. I love blueberries, and I actually have to cook mine a little longer so it's not gummy at the bottom. I don't know
Sure.
why. I
It
don't know if
just
that.
varies depending on if you're doing it in the oven or the microwave, different microwaves, and it varies.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So repeat lunch items are um, steaks. A lot of steaks. Why? I don't know. But I've been loving steak a lot more, which is not usually in my plan. But the
Cool.
mushroom coconut chicken is one, or it's just a creamy mushroom chicken, I think is what you call it.
Something. Yeah.
Um, I printed these up too, and they come with me everywhere I go. So I've got week 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, awesome. And is that the printable version?
Yeah, they came out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Because actually I've been curious. So you guys, that's what the printable version of some of the documents for P3 to Life look like. So because there's a color version for like seeing full color photos on your, iPad or whatever. But
yeah,
then like I tend to like to print stuff too, so we have black and white to save your printer ink. I've been curious actually about that of the members of like, how many people are printing versus just using their tablet, and so cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
And I printed it. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't spend the time printing out
Like
the
the calendar part.
yeah, the calendar or
Sure.
even the grocery list. Because after the first time around, and then I look at the recipes, and now that I've made a lot of them,
Yeah.
I just like, what am I in the mood for? Because
Right.
now I'm so far into it that I can
Oh
choose.
yeah. Well, that's exactly why I have like the cookbook version too of the P3 thing because I
Mhm.
figured that it's like you guys are gonna do the plan, but then after that you can just pick and choose the recipes you want to make, and like you said, they're all gonna kind of fit within a good guideline for eating.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. Um, the buffalo chicken salad, I have to say that I don't think of buffalo unless it's on a wing that's fried and covered in blue cheese. But your buffalo chicken salad is amaze balls.
Cool.
I can't even. I've made it like 3 times, and I raved about it every time I'm eating it at work. And I'll put it in butter lettuce wraps, or I'll just eat it straight. And my coworkers are like, "Okay, enough with the buffalo chicken salad already." I'm like, so one day I made a giant batch, and I took it in, and I made everybody try it.
You're like, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
They're gonna love it because I love it that much.
Oh, good. And I'm so glad. And that one's actually one of the faster recipes to make, I
Yes.
think.
Hmm.
And it's also one of the lower, like, the macros on it are also excellent. Like, you can eat a
And
lot.
yeah, you can eat a lot of it, and I actually will like drop the next day if I eat that. And I don't know if it's, I say it's the celery because I hate celery, and that's the only way I'll eat it if it's in something.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna hide it in there.
You will not find me snacking on a celery stick or a carrot stick.
You're like,
And
no, me neither, actually. I guess I'm like you. I like it in a soup or, yeah, like chopped up really tiny so that I don't really know it's there.
yeah.
Awesome.
The mahi with asparagus was amazing. My kids loved the fish.
Oh,
And,
great.
um, yeah, the balsamic cast iron steak with cauli mash and the tomato salad.
Good.
It's like steak and potatoes, man. That's good.
Awesome.
It is so good.
Awesome.
Um, I have to look through them because there's so many, and I'm at the point where, like I said, I'm just like, what am I in the mood for?
Good. I need to. I know. Well, since you like so much variety, I'm trying to get week 4 finished up, and I know because some of you guys
I
are like,
can't
we
wait
want more recipes. Like, I'm
to
sorry,
read.
I'm working as fast as I can.
But the timing of your P3 was amazing because I was kind of, yeah, I was freaked out and afraid I was going to have to do all these steak days, and then I saw your thing on the P3, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. So
That's
yeah,
good. That was why I released it, even though it only had the first 3 weeks, because I
yeah.
knew it was like there's so many ladies starting P3, and like if I wait, you just have to do P3
You need the
without it.
feedback. You need the
Yeah,
feedback.
exactly. And that's actually been fantastic. So, how did you
Yeah.
feel about the volume of the recipes? Like how much you got to eat during P3 with the program?
For me, and I might be different than others just because my stomach is a little smaller, even though I'm up to like a normal portion, it's still smaller than some of the stuff that we really overeat. because
Gotcha.
normally if I overeat on pizza, I'd eat half the darn pizza or more.
Yeah.
And now 3 pieces, I'm good, you know.
Gotcha.
So still, we shouldn't have more than 1 piece in a salad or something. You
You're
know what I mean?
funny.
Like, anyway, but the portions have lasted me 3 to 4 meals instead of two if it's a two
Awesome.
serving.
Yeah.
Um,
So they filled you up.
yeah, they're very filling. The turkey chili was amazing. Yeah, I'm still looking through the spaghetti squash and meatballs.
Oh, I
Good.
love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And see,
Uh,
so you had that and you didn't gain or anything, or it sounds like,
mm-mm.
or yeah, because a lot of these sometimes people are like there's butternut squash in the plan, just
Yeah.
small amount. There's the spaghetti squash, and those are actually a little bit more of like a medium carb vegetable.
Yeah.
So it might be like, oh, I don't know if I can eat that. And people get a little leery sometimes when they see the macros for the day and the week. But you guys,
Yeah.
it works. These are healthy vegetables. And I was very
Yeah.
careful about the serving size, like, and how it was combined with the other macros for the dish so that you're still on a low carb diet for the overall daily totals. And it really does work out. And you're getting to have like so much variety in taste and texture,
Yeah.
you know. So,
What's your favorite smoothie?
oh, my favorite.
Or what do you find making the most? There's a couple that I go between.
Do you? You know what? I have a bunch of other ones actually that aren't in the plan. I'm kind of making like a separate P3 smoothies like ebook eventually. So I actually have like 43 recipes, and there's like a vanilla. I know it'll be fun. So there's like a vanilla flavored one that I really like, and I like the chocolate peanut butter one. That one's in the P3 plan. How about you? What was your?
Yeah, I like chocolate peanut butter. The ones I've made the most of are the mango coconut.
Yeah, cool.
And on a day that I maybe didn't have time to do a meal, I'll add a scoop of my
Smart.
soft serve ice cream flavor protein, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like the vegan one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, you can turn any of those P3 smoothies into a protein smoothie, I think, is with a little
Yeah,
extra liquid, you know.
yeah.
How
The
did you
key,
feel about those? Because like the dessert smoothies, to be honest, when I decided to make them a part of the plan, I was kind of like, I don't know, what will people think of these? Because like I eat these, but I don't know. Like, do you feel like they were helpful to you at all in your overall eating, or what do you think of them?
absolutely, because I have that late night want to have something sweet and wind down,
Yeah.
and a lot of times because I work till 12:30 at night and I've already had dinner, and the last few hours are like, oh my
Right.
God, like, yeah, and they've number one helped me stay awake when I need to stay awake for work because I just get so exhausted at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And it's also killed my sugar craving at the end of the day
Good.
because they're on the sweeter side, you know?
Yes. So
And
you're getting to
so
fill that a little bit, even though it's a lot of ice.
I satiated that
Good.
a lot.
And you
Yeah.
know you can have more than one, right? Like if you're just having a major hankering. Like
I can't believe you told me that.
yeah, like that's the whole point of these. Like some of them are like 50 or 60 calories. So that the point
Yeah.
is that for people like you and me, I need to not feel like I can't eat anything for the next 4 hours, or I start
Right.
feeling kind of panicky. Like at night.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
like at night I start feeling I literally it's almost like anxiety attack, like oh my gosh, but
I
I
can't
might
eat.
want to eat something and now I can't and it's scary. So
Yeah.
I mean that's why like you can, if you're PMSing or whatever, it's like you can, if you pick a couple of the lower calorie ones, you can have two or three and it's not gonna, it's so much better than having like a huge chocolate bar or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, I did find a sugar-free chocolate bar too that I like,
Yes.
so I
But
keep
I've
that.
overdone it on those. Like,
Mm,
like I've eaten those too much, and then I saw the scale going up because they're still more calorie dense because it's still
right.
a lot of fat, So and like for people
Those
like
are for emergencies. Like I'll
yes,
keep one in my lunch bag for work, and it's usually like something like a stressful call or something came in. I'm like, oh, I want licorice. I want
yeah,
Reese cup. I want some chips. I'm like, oh, I have my sugar-free chocolate bar, and I pull out a
awesome.
square or two, and then
Which
I
brand
bite
do
them.
you like to eat?
I don't know. Somebody gave it to me. It
Because
was
Lily's is my favorite. if you guys don't know this, we'll put links in the show notes, okay, to the sugar-free chocolate brands that are around. Lily's is my favorite. What do you have there?
This one is Simply Light. Someone
Oh,
introduced it to
okay.
me.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
think
don't know.
Trader Joe's might have that one, or
I'm not sure. I ordered this online because I got the whole case, but
gotcha.
um, it has maltitol. Wait,
Yeah,
maltitol
so that
omitted.
one,
It said maltitol has been omitted from the carb calculation as the conversion because it requires
yeah.
little or no insulin.
Yeah, so, but
Yeah,
yeah, maltitol, I actually, that kind of hurt messes with my digestion. I used to eat that though. It does
yeah,
taste really good.
yeah.
But as long as
It's
it doesn't bother your digestion, it's like it can be fine, you know?
well, one day I ate half a bar in one sitting, and I just had a stomach ache.
Yeah,
So
it can do that, you know? So, but
I'm
that is
like,
one
okay,
option.
2, 3 squares, and I'm good. Like you can't have the whole bar.
That's good. I mean, I guess that's actually kind of good in a way. It kind of helps create forced self-control because it's like, okay, I'm gonna have digestive problems if I eat more. So,
Yeah.
no, that's good. And then you guys, for some of the other sugar-free chocolates out there right now that are sweetened with erythritol and stevia, those don't cause the same digestive discomfort for most. And so
Okay.
Lily's is one brand of that. And then there's another one called, I think, Marco Polo, actually. I don't like theirs as much, though. It's like not sweet enough for me, but that's another brand. And then there's actually one more that you can only buy online, and it's literally my most favorite one, but it's also kind of more expensive. But I'll link to it because I don't remember the name of it at the moment, but it'll be in the show notes for you guys. So
So let me share with you um, something that gets my chocolate peanut butter fix.
yes,
The PB2 that you have
yes.
shared with us. So when I was helping another gal who just started your program. Like this is her first week.
I think
So,
she emailed me. She's like, my friend Natalie told me about you, and I think you're
oh,
gonna talk to her on Skype. And I'm like, oh, I'm talking to her this morning actually. I just replied back to her. Cool.
very cool. Oh, that might be Mindy.
Oh, that's Mindy. Yeah. Oh, so this is someone
Okay,
else.
so that's the girl that I got the idea to start your program from.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And the other gal, I don't know if she would reach out to you or not. Her name is Allison,
Cool.
and but she came over because she was mentally and uh, actually trying to prepare herself, her kitchen, her home, and she wanted to taste some of the P3 recipes, so what she had to look forward to after and then or before she started all of this.
Yeah.
And we played around with a couple of things because the PB2 we reconstituted it and we were like, it's doable. And I said, oh, wait, let me put 2 drops of my stevia in there.
Yay!
I added stevia to it and I was like, oh,
So
let
good.
me dip my chocolate bar in there.
That sounds
So
great.
right? So I can still get those what feel like sinful and guilty
Yeah.
satisfaction from something that's not bad, you know? And
Awesome.
yeah, so dip your sugar-free chocolate in that PB2 with some stevia.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Do
That's
it.
totally a great tip. That's awesome. That's awesome. Were there any surprising results? Were you surprised by anything when you followed the program? Like, did you have initial thoughts as you went through it, but then it was different and then you realized? Or I'm just curious what your perspective is on that.
I was surprised by a lot actually because nutritional yeast, who knew what that was? Um, it's pretty amazing stuff actually.
Yeah.
And um, and the flaxseed meal and just the coconut, even when you go to the canned full fat versus the coconut milk. I mean, when I was on vacation and I wanted a coffee and I wanted Starbucks, we were at Disney and I'm like, I just want Starbucks. And so I walked in, I'm like, really? Okay, I can have black tea. I can have green tea, no extra syrup. I can have, and I saw they had it, they got the coffee. It was like, it was a some kind of coffee with coconut milk or whatever flavor thing, and so I got that without the syrup and the coconut milk, and I added my stevia, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!"
Awesome.
Oh, I was really pleased to find that um, I like coconut milk, and I had only recently tried substituting almond milk instead of just plain water in some of my protein drinks that I would drink before anyway.
Yeah.
Made them creamier and,
Yeah.
not as fatty as milk. So, yeah, I was really pleased. And then so I have almond milk in the fridge. I have coconut milk in the fridge. And then there's a brand that makes a 50-50 blend, which I find I like a lot in a lot of things.
Awesome. I've seen that, I think. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
good.
that was super surprising. And that is a staple in my kitchen.
Cool. I've actually because you mentioned that there was several dishes that you were kind of leery about, like you thought you might not like them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you ended up liking them. And a
Love,
lot of people have told me that actually, that they
yeah.
like, I guess I'm just gonna try it and see. And then they were surprised, like, oh, I really like this actually.
Yeah, and the steak, on how to prepare steak. Like I never have steak because I usually think of it on a grill, or I'm just terrified. I never knew how to cook it right, or broil it in the oven. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just your instructions are so simple
Oh, good.
and so easy, and this food is so good. Like I will have a steak every day if I could. Like, I could afford it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not the cheapest meat for sure, but
Right, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, it's always cooked to perfection because I like mine more rare.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it so
Good.
much. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I wanted to tell you guys if you end up deciding to try the program, because I've gotten more feedback now there's actually over 500 people actually in there right now, but
Wow.
thankfully they're not all emailing me right at once. But yes, I've been trying to keep in touch with whoever does email though, because I really want to make it good for you guys and find out what works, what doesn't. And so far, all the ladies that I've interviewed, um, I think that's kind of one of the big things is that they're willing to take a chance. That a lot of this is for some reason or another, they're kind of a little bit hesitant, whether it's about the flavors they see or something else. But everyone says when they take the chance and they just, or like another gal was like, oh, that's going to be too many carbs, I think. But they take the chance and they do it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, my weight stayed the same. Or like, this tastes
Yeah.
delicious. And now we have like more foods that I like to eat.
Yes. And I have options to avoid some of the higher calorie dense and sugar full, like the creamer. Like I would not do anything other than International Delight Cold Stone Cream. Like that was the flavor. That's it. I'm not having coffee unless I have that.
Yeah.
And I was so desperate for coffee, and I said, well, I know coconut milk is in the P3, and I
Yeah.
hadn't started your recipes yet. I'm like, I'm going to try coffee with coconut milk. What do I have to lose?
Right.
And the fact that I loved it, and I was like, oh, now I don't even, like, I have options. So if I don't have coconut milk, I'll use a little half and half, or, but not as, you know what I mean? It's just,
Right.
there's other options that are way better choices, the
Yeah.
almond milk, the coconut milk, the stevia.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's just
yeah,
nice having that, like you said, like the choices, because the nice thing is sometimes we are going to want to have our absolute favorite or the thing we used to have or whatever, and we can do that. Sometimes it's just like the
mhm,
thing when we like if it's like you said, if it's super calorie dense or hardcore, it's probably not something we can always have every time. So
right.
it's like when you realize like, oh, cool, like I can choose to do it in a, like if I have a couple pounds to lose or things are getting a little out of hand, I have ways to eat that might help me lean out a little bit, but that I'm still like okay with and that are not like horrible dieting type feeling.
Yeah, I'm not deprived. I'm not deprived at all,
Awesome.
at all. So I just didn't turn my nose up at anything. That's the key because, we get set in our ways and we know what we like. And so to see some new things on here, even olives, like green olives, I'm like, mm-mm. But my girls love olives, and my girls were like, I want to try one, Mommy. What's it taste like? I don't know. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's true. We get stuck in a rut sometimes, or we just. I'm a creature of habit myself, so you get comfortable with what you're comfortable with, and
yeah.
But I feel like P3 is such a perfect time to view as like a playground for trying new things, And then,
Yes.
like, you'll probably find favorites, and that you'll, like you said, maybe it's like the baking egg cups, or like flaxseed, or you like yeast, whatever you end up finding you like. And then later, it's like you might start having some of those things more. But it's like P3 is that playtime to try these different types of things. The chia pudding, I think that was interesting that you said that, because yeah, it's been a favorite for a lot of people, and it's just things that were unexpected, and now like you have so many more, like you said, options. So
Yeah. The and the other thought process behind that was that I've spent my whole life as a yo-yo. Nothing I have done has worked and stuck. What do I have to lose? I have to do something different.
yeah,
So that was the other thought process behind it, that um, how do I know it doesn't work? Who am I to say that I can't or won't like that? I haven't tried it. I tell my kids, you got to try something new. I got to stick to that too.
yeah, gotta set the
So, and
example.
then to find out they love some of this stuff too. And it's one of my girls, even who never eats tomatoes, I made the tomato chive pepperoni salad.
Yeah.
Um, and they all tried something new. And she's like, but it's tomatoes, Mom. I said, but look at all the other stuff in there. I bet it tastes different. And she tried it. She's like, oh, I like it. And I'm like,
Wow,
like tomatoes. Who would have thought?
that's great. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
It's funny how sometimes when you combine other things or different flavors or spices, it really can change the
yeah,
overall, you know.
it does. Because a lot of the flavorings, like I have curry and turmeric in my thing because I tried to duplicate an Asian recipe one time for these flavors that I loved.
Yeah.
And one of my coworkers was telling me which types of stuff to get. So I had it in my cupboard and I'm just like, I've never used it. And some of your recipes called for some of those things. And I was like, oh, I have that actually. Let me see.
Nice.
I wanted to try it at one point. So
Yeah.
yeah. How do you get your knowledge? Like, are you just a good cook? Do you
Oh
have,
no, no. So, okay, I have a recipe developer. So,
oh,
okay, so this is how it works. So, because actually, okay, let me tell you this. So, I started working on the P3 program in earnest, I think in April 2016. But
okay.
literally, like 2 months before that, I send my email newsletter to you guys on occasion, and sometimes they're reflective things. And so one of them was about how I don't like my life to be focused on food, and that's why I don't like to cook, because it's like too much time spent cooking, and then I feel like I want to eat more, and also that I don't know how to come up with recipes or anything. Like I really don't. Like I just cook super simple stuff a lot, you know? So like
Yeah.
so as a result, you'll probably never see a cookbook come from me, because like people ask me that all the time. So but that's definitely just not me, right? So I send this out. And then somehow, maybe it's because I wrote about it, like a couple weeks later, I was like, because people do ask, and I'm like, we really need something for phase 3, but
Yeah.
I feel so trapped because I'm not capable of like the food part, which is what we need. And I'm like,
Yes.
wait a minute. Other people who make programs, they don't do the whole thing themselves. They hire people to do various aspects of whatever they don't know how to do. So like,
Yeah.
why don't I do that? So that's what I did. I actually, I even honestly made it a matter of prayer too. I went online and I was looking for different recipe developers, and I wanted to find a good one that would be able to make really tasty dishes. And so I thought I'm going to actually bring her on the blog in the near future. Her name's Jenna. She's amazing. I just love her. So she's the one I found, and she has been a gem. Like we've used almost every recipe she's made. Like so I was a huge part of the process where
Right.
like I selected inspiration. Like this is let's do a recipe like with these ingredients, or this vegetable, or this whatever. Let's make an Indian curry or whatnot, And then I definitely like all the macros and the calories, how they go up each week. I
Hmm.
planned all of that out in advance. So she works within that framework. But when it
Okay.
comes to the actual like recipe creation, she creates it. So it's like,
Ah, okay.
yeah, so she's like, okay, I'm gonna make an Indian curry recipe or whatever. And so then she does her magic, and then she emails the recipe to me,
Right.
and then I make it, and then I photograph it. So I have done all the photography myself. That was something more that I enjoyed doing,
Yeah.
that I learned. So, but yeah, and then I taste it, and make sure. And there's been a couple recipes actually that I felt like, this is just it's okay, but not that great. And so I left those out actually, because I really wanted this to be like you're so happy with what you're eating.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
my
and
goal.
or you can find some that you do love and you can repeat.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of the story there on how our work process goes. And um,
Oh, you know what? I did want to talk to you. I don't know if this will be off your
it's fun.
interview.
Yeah.
The lemon blueberry protein bars. I
Oh,
was so excited about those. And they turned out so dry and
yes,
so
we fixed it. Okay, I'll send you that too. So I already emailed Jenna because this has been a running theme. Like, there's no recipe anyone has a problem with except for that one. So
I
everyone's
was
like, I love
text
everything, but you
twice.
know what? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I can't get the lemon blueberry bars right. So you're not alone. We fixed
Okay.
it. It's a muffin now. And I'll send you the recipe. Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, Jenna, you know what? This recipe's not foolproof enough. Because I did make them and mine weren't dry, but I did find like they were so thick and it was
Yeah.
really hard to spread and it tasted
Yeah.
good and it wasn't, but I was just like, everyone was like, I don't know, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, this is too hard. We need to make it
Uh,
easier.
they're a little, to me, it was dry and a little dense. And then, like,
Yeah.
there when I got a blueberry in my lemon, and then, but
Yeah. So we redid.
I,
She redid it and made it into it ended up being a muffin. So I'll send you the updated one. It'll be in the documents soon. And I haven't actually tried it yet myself. I'm going to, and we'll see if that is better.
you know what I really was hoping to find, because I love like a granola bar.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's hard to find some that aren't like completely sugar laden.
Right. No, that's a good idea. I can add that to my ideas
Some
then.
kind of granola protein, but the texture for me, I'm looking for something chewier.
Chewy.
Yeah, and I don't know how to get that.
Right, without sugar. Hmm. Well, you know what? Jenna's a miracle worker, so I don't know. I can ask her. Yeah, yeah, because I ended up not having a lot of calorie dense recipes in the plan just because the
Yeah,
premise is that I didn't want to like make it easy to overeat. I wanted it, you know what I mean? Because I
yeah.
actually have a couple other recipes. You might like them actually that aren't in the plan that I just felt it was kind of an invitation to overeat. It was like you could only eat a few of them because they're calorie dense. I was like, I feel like that's kind of setting people up to fail. So I didn't want to do that.
That might be something for like P4.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? For
totally.
like snacky items or things that you can pre-portion out and just grab a little bag of something,
Yeah, totally.
stuff like that. Or yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, no, thanks for that. Well, yes. Though you're not alone about the lemon blueberry bars. It's literally the only one. Like,
I
you're like,
was, yeah,
this
I was like,
one, what am
ooh,
I
this is
doing wrong?
good. This is gonna be good. And I
You're
made
not
a whole
doing
batch.
anything
And,
wrong.
uh,
Yep. So we fixed
I
that.
was like,
Why do you feel like the P3 to Life program was valuable for you, like for others considering it? Like, what were the main things that were valuable to you about it that made a difference for you?
it's kind of like you can make any one of these recipes and you get full. It's satisfying. I like cooking and cooking new things, and so kind of all that was encompassed in this. But learning what not to put in things, I think, was even more valuable because a lot of stuff we like to throw cheese in, or we add avocado and cheese to a salad, or the combination of certain foods that are healthy
Right.
by themselves, maybe sunflower seeds, uh, you know, it's just different things that I would like normally load a salad with, and but all together in the same dish is maybe not okay.
Gotcha.
And to see what went into these recipes and some of them that were so simple and I'm overdoing it. Like
Gotcha.
really need to just simplify things sometimes. And just to have these options that are super satisfying and um, super filling and taste great. I mean, I just can't emphasize enough for people. I mean, I can't imagine like what everybody did or struggled with before this.
It's not
You know,
easy. Yeah.
even Mindy who emailed you, and I don't know if she started your P3 yet, but she she said she's had quite a few steak days, and so and she doesn't think that she fully balanced
Gotcha.
between one of her rounds, and
Yeah.
so to me, I feel like I was balanced that first week. I mean, look at the
Cool.
whole 20 days of 1 pound.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, who
Yeah.
thinks of that? Because I really thought that I was going to be up 5 in a day,
Yeah.
and just even like adding coconut milk and full fat from the can on one of the, I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. Like, half, I could put half and half in this thing. I could put avocado and an egg yolk. Like, oh my God,
What?
it can't be possible. I think I have to eat leafy greens and
Yeah.
boiled eggs for the rest of my life.
But it was okay, right? Adding those other things.
It was okay. And if I could give anybody advice going forward, don't be apprehensive. Um, don't judge, just do it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Like, just try, because obviously we're doing this program because we need to lose weight, because something we've been doing has not been right up until now. So, yeah, having this, you're onto something, and I'm really looking forward to the next 3 weeks of menus to come out, because I mean, if you
Guess
one to one,
what? There's actually going to be 4. I decided to add a bonus 7th week.
that's
I
awesome.
mean, obviously it'll take me a while, but I decided to put that as like a free bonus. So it's going to be 7.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I love that you have like curry, you have chili, you have um, some savory stuff, some spicy stuff. You got some Asian recipes. Like, you got some down home stuff, like, a burger. How could I have a burger and it tastes good without, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, further down the weeks,
Yep.
like, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
we have a
wait.
burger on a portobello mushroom in week 4 with grilled
Ooh,
veggies. Yeah. I have to make
yeah.
that one still myself. But actually, no, that's week 5. Yeah.
I did one of my favorite summer recipes or meals, period. It was a steak on the grill. And this is way before like dieting or whatever. With a giant portobello mushroom that I
Mm.
grill with the vein side up, that I've drizzled balsamic and oil
Oh,
over,
that sounds
and
good.
whatever seasonings, and then like sweet potato or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
does sweet potato ever come in it
It
at all?
does. In week 4, there's some sweet potato fries. Yep. Yeah,
Aha!
I just shot
Yes!
those 2 days ago. Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty good. Yeah.
Good. I'm excited because I love sweet potato.
Yeah. It's just all on how you combine things, So that's like in week 4, you guys is technically phase 4, right? So, but we're not just jumping in and like having a ton of carbs every day.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is be strategic and like, okay, so one day we're gonna try out this higher carb vegetable sweet potato, but we're gonna keep the other meal low carb and really
Yeah.
clean, more like a cucumber salad, just to even it out. So it's still strategic, so that because for instance, you talked about your weight being really stable all of P3. Well, when you start P3, your weight's, I mean, the calories are like 900 to 1,000. When you end P3, you're at more closer to 1,500. So how's that possible?
Yeah. How did that happen?
That's because reverse dieting, you're adjusting your body slowly, so that you're not your metabolism is, you're just treating your body right, and helping it adjust slowly, so that now you're eating higher, but you're still not gaining, So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Oh, I
cool.
had another question for you.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
and this is a little on the personal side,
sure.
but the issue of fiber in a diet,
Yes.
I always need a ton of extra. I'm one
Okay.
of those people that I could probably eat an entire pound of cherries and still not,
Yeah.
still not an issue. Um,
Gotcha.
so,
Is it like, you mean constipation, or
yeah.
okay? Do you mind if I
Um,
leave this in, or do you want me to take it out, just so I know?
I don't care.
Okay,
I don't,
because
if
I'm
it's
fine
helpful,
talking about. I talk about everything pretty much. So,
yeah,
okay, cool. So, because
it'll be helpful.
I don't know if this helps. I actually I've had a lot of trouble with constipation as well because of my health issues. Um, for me, it's not fiber. For me, if I have enough magnesium at night,
Okay.
then I don't have a problem.
Okay.
I don't know if you've tried that. Sorry, what were we talking
So the
about? Oh,
magnesium.
constipation.
And when you said the magnesium, helps with your constipation,
Yeah,
right?
it fixed it basically. Yeah. No, I used to have really bad constipation.
It's a nighttime recovery, but it's 50 milligrams of magnesium,
Okay.
and
So I
it's got
have to
some
take 200 to 300 a night for it to do
300.
anything. Yeah.
So this is per caplet, and this is based on body weight. So I have to take 4 caplets.
Okay.
So that's 200,
200.
right?
Yeah.
So, um,
You can take, I think, remember you guys, I'm not a doctor, which
do
is
you know?
obvious, but I think some people need more like 500 even. Like, I think, anyway, it would be worth a try. I'm just curious. And there's also different types of magnesium. I take one called magnesium glycinate or glycinate. Um, I don't know, which
One
one.
said magnesium as amino acid chelate,
Chelate.
chelate,
I
chelate.
think chelate, maybe. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Well, that was
So
one thing. And then the other thing in the past that really helped me with constipation was probiotics, actually, like larger doses than they say. So for a
that
while,
makes it really stinky.
yeah, could be. Yeah, so like I would take like 8 capsules when it said take two. No, I'm serious. This was okay, you guys. So you won't feel embarrassed about
Okay.
bringing this up because I'll just be really personal. I've had an anal fissure, so I've had like extreme constipation, and actually fiber made it worse.
Oh,
So,
really?
and there's a couple foods I can't eat, like cabbage. I don't know
Oh,
why. If I have even like a tiny smidgen of cabbage in my salad, I will be extremely constipated. I don't know why. It's so
oh,
weird.
that's
It's
interesting.
completely
Even
bizarre. And same thing with like there's a few other foods like that, and with fiber, like I have a very messed up digestion, you guys. I think because like I have Hashimoto's, I think I have Lyme disease. I have others, so I'm not like your normal person. Okay, so just let me just clarify
Lime.
that because I have to peel all my vegetables. I can't eat the skins of almost any vegetable, or actually really hurts my intestines. But
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, and but the years ago I would do like way many capsules of probiotics, and that did work. And then now I have like 300 milligrams of magnesium a night, and then I don't have any problems, because I get scared to get constipated because of the fissure I've had. It's very painful.
It's very painful.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have to be careful that I don't have too much fiber actually, or it's actually worse. So
Yeah. So I've been like I'll only go like once a week,
gotcha.
really. And so, and when I do, I can feel it. It's backing up. My insides
Yeah,
feel like my intestines are being stretched beyond what they can hold
gosh.
until it just finally gives way.
I wonder if there's like a food thing involved with that. Yeah, because that does seem like,
Now, there was one day that I had, and this was my fault because I didn't, what was it? Oh, my son had a field trip to Google. And their cafeteria, it's all free, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm like, I'm glad I
wow.
don't work at Google
Yeah,
because
whoa, I'd be in trouble.
so anyway, I had this arugula salad that had some kind of vinegar and oil with pear and gorgonzola cheese, and then I had uh, this cucumber dip, and I gave myself permission to have a little bit of it. There was like a pita or a tortilla to taste that, and
Yeah.
some some hummus. So I
Mm.
had all these things in one sitting,
Yeah.
and it was a little bit of each one just to taste because
Yeah.
I wanted some new flavors, right?
Yeah.
And I was miserable, and I don't
Oh,
know which
wow.
thing because I tried so many at
Right.
once. It was,
Huh.
and but I don't want to try it again because it was awful
Oh.
how bad I felt, and I don't know. I was like, was it the hummus? Was it the chickpea? Like was it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. I know I don't do too well with beans either. For a while I was eating hummus. It was okay, but then I don't know. Any beans these days don't feel too good.
It was so horrible. My
Interesting.
stomach was like so far distended, uh,
Wow.
stabbing gas pains. It
Wow. So
was
it definitely didn't like something.
something, and because I
Wow.
had so many different things at one time, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
I know, and you don't want to go through it again, so
it could have been the combination of everything too.
it could be.
It
I don't
just
know. Interesting. Oh, well, I hope you figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. That would be what I would try, would be even more magnesium and just see.
yeah.
Because there should be a tolerance level, like where it would cause loose stools. So I mean, so it's gonna have to
I
be
don't have
something.
to worry about the loose stuff. It's the other stuff
Yeah,
is terrible. But I usually reserve this for after a heavy workout when I know my muscles are going to be sore because it really takes that away.
gotcha.
And being over 40, let me tell you, the pain from working out is so much more intense and so much deeper
Gotcha.
seated in the muscle. Almost feels like it's in my bones, like, and
Yeah,
it takes longer to recover
gotcha.
from harder workouts.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, that's the other reason I haven't jumped back into big workouts yet.
Gotcha.
And I think I'm gonna go small on the next round. And small meaning I printed myself out just a couple of different between 10 and 20-minute home P9 not P90, I'm sorry, CrossFit style workouts,
Yeah.
like just doing rounds
Yeah.
of like AMRAPs for 10 minutes
Right.
or just small like that, no more
Yeah.
than
And those are great. Yeah, you can. Those kick
just
your
to
butt.
incorporate those. Well, and I don't have the time for much more
Right.
either.
Yeah.
Um,
Plus on
but
P2, you don't want to overdo it anyway, like with the
yeah,
exercise. So
yeah, and I also found on P2 that the days that I did have my long walks also helped.
cool.
Those days that I didn't work out or I didn't have a long walk or I get down, please. She's a little human, I swear. She's at me like, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's good you noted
it,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so I want to see what a little more
Yeah.
intensity will do on the next round. And I'm already preparing myself for maybe not as much number loss
Yeah.
on the scale, but maybe more shifting in the inches.
Right. No, it's true. Yeah, as long as you're feeling okay, because it's true. Every person's body is so different when it comes
Yeah.
to the exercise on hCG thing, for sure. I think once you get really intense, it's dangerous because I think you can really tax your adrenals. But doing a 10-minute AMRAP's not going to be that. And then for some people, they can get better results depending. And then, like you said, sometimes it might not necessarily be the scale, but if you do work out while on P2 a little bit, it can, I think, preserve muscle better. Like, lose even less muscle, which is
Yeah.
good because that's weight loss, right? But it's not weight loss you want. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There is no other P3 program out
No.
there like this. I mean, there might be something that tells you to eat like more P2 foods or in how many ounces, but this is actually a complete thing where it's like a
Yeah.
real way of eating and it's specific and so
If I had this after my weight loss surgery, it might have changed things.
cool. It's
Yeah.
funny how much you learn because honestly, I learned a lot too from creating it as well because I had to do a lot of research while I was deciding how I wanted to lay it out. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, the gradual calorie increase. I already knew that worked for ladies from interviewing people on the blog. Like, I would interview people, and everyone who did well in P3, they were like, I gradually added things, I gradually added calories. So I was like, everyone who does well in P3 gradually increases things. And so
Yeah.
I kind of already knew that, but I did more research on it and had to pick how I was going to lay it out. Um, and I learned a lot too. Yeah, just like because when you measure things and combine how much fat and how many low carb vegetables or how much of a medium carb vegetable, and I wanted it to be a certain size so that because you can have half cup of nuts and that's like 400 or 500 calories, but
Yeah.
you're not going to feel satisfied after that.
Right.
And I would go through bags of cashews, and then you wonder, yeah, why you're doing so many correction days, like, but cashews are low carb. So,
Right.
so I learned so much from the
Yeah.
creation, and so I can see when you follow it, you learn that way too, and then you can start to make your own like personal decisions with that knowledge that work, in daily life.
And what's interesting to me is so on the eating that I was doing for the post surgery, and we had to get so many grams of protein in a day. So I did a lot of supplementing with like IsoPure protein drinks.
Gotcha.
That are 40 grams in one bottle, you know, only
Gotcha.
60 calories, so that I could get a lot in.
Right.
Or drink 2 of those a day and I've got my protein, you know,
Gotcha.
and then just supplement with other vegetables and stuff throughout the day.
Yeah.
But when I look at these meal plans and see, like, I needed to have like something over 78 grams of protein a day.
Right.
And I was like, this is all real food and it's all adding up pretty darn close, if not more than what I need. And I'm like, wow, because I was living on protein drinks pretty much
Yeah.
to get my protein.
Yeah.
And wondered why I kept creeping up. It's just weird. Like,
Yeah.
because I had a protein drink every day for breakfast, you know, and sedentary lifestyle, lack of sleep, lack of water, all of those things, sure, they contribute, but how do you gain 20 pounds in 2 years? Like,
Right.
something else,
Right.
you know, so, and being able to eat these foods, getting the vegetables, the satisfaction, I'm floored.
Aw, I'm glad.
Yeah, and I see a lot of potential for you
Thank
in
you.
what you're doing. And,
Well, we'll have to keep in touch because, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I do definitely I would love to help spread the P3 program since that's my own little creation. If it works well for people, I would love to help, you know, spread that around, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today, Natalie. I really appreciate it.